Hey everyone, my name is Luis,
I am SÆPIENA.
and we are recording this right now to document maybe a podcast. I don't know. We're thinking about it, but this first one is just going to be a almost interview-like discussion on art and on the art of SÆPIENA. So, let's begin. First of all, hey everybody, we love you. Second of all, who's your favorite artist
Well,
right
looking forward to We Love You, A7X. We're big fans of A7X. A7X bring out their new album June 2nd. Yeah, June 2nd. So this new song We Love You is very good, very experimental. And I think that if you take the time to listen to it, it'll give you a very open mind. Or stay open to it. Because like they have good perspectives, and I like this one. I like their last single too, Nobody. That one's really good. There's gonna be more songs. How many songs? Probably like 9 or something, 9, 10. I don't know, but I think overall the whole album's gonna be pretty good. What do you think?
This was a pretty good plug for A7X. If anything, cashes our check, bitches. I love A7X. This new stuff really is out there, which is cool because I feel like a lot of metal I've been hearing lately is too like overly produced. Like, I can't even get a guitar solo to save my life. It's like 3 notes and then boom, back to the chorus. I don't know. It seems so like choppy and poppy, but there's some artists where, and I respect them and their creativity, even if it does have like, even if it is kind of left field.
Left field is good.
Yeah, I admire taking risks, even if it might not work out. It's
if
still
music's too how do I say, it has a lot of expectations, and you break those expectations. Sometimes it's better, Like I just think that music that breaks those expectations is probably the best music like ever.
I mean, just in life as well. It's like, not life would be boring without just surprise and the random, the absurd.
Mm-hmm.
And this album might be absurd. After hearing like this one little sample song at the end, sounds like a weird, like almost kind of like a Kid Cudi modern like rap song. Anyways, though. I know we're talking about A7X, but I'd like to get back to this whole...
No, it's good. We love our bands.
Well, the funny thing was I was going to ask you who's your favorite artist, and then we just started talking about A7X. So.
No, that's cool.
No,
we already went there because
yeah.
you said We Love You. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go with We Love You. And talk about We Love You, talk about A7X. No, that's cool.
If anything, if you guys enjoy this, then I think we should make like a reaction chat.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
we'll see.
If you guys like our shitty opinions, let me know. But back to the opinions. We're gonna talk about the artiste. So, hi.
Mm-hmm.
What about art for you has you so obsessed? Like, why are you so devout?
It's not, you're not in a box. You're not in a box. You can let your thoughts come in and out. It's a stream. It's like a river. And anything that pops up in your mind, like, you can just like do art about it. Even your thoughts is art. Everything is art.
Yeah, like in your mind or just outside of it, you can really take one concept and stretch it into a billion, trillion different outcome scenarios, fusions.
Yeah.
So I like your new fusion now. I don't know if you guys have seen on the Instagram. It's a combination of mixed medias. There's different series. Some look more psychedelic, inspired by ink blots from Rorschach. Others have more of a musical concept involved, and others have more of a science, I guess a callback to certain scientific principles and laws. But at this point, we found a way to, I guess, fuse them all into one. So what is it about art, music, and science that is important to you?
Art, music, and science.
Yeah, I guess the
Well,
triad
is that
of all of them.
it all comes together. It's all one, and one way or another, we can we are thinking that way. It's everything is science. Like, if it wasn't for science, we'd be nowhere. We'd be like, humans would pretty much be done. I don't think humans can evolve anymore if it wasn't for science, for thinking rationally. Like, if we always stayed irrational, everybody would be dead. Everybody kill themselves. And because we think this way, there's a balance, and we all need that balance in life. I think that we can't live without it. We are science.
I like that. I mean, I think back to early ancestors and the beginning of when fire became discovered and how it's changed our lives. Down to the industrial revolution, and then to where we are now, in this futuristic homo techno world. But it's still interesting that people have these prejudices and fears of science, and I also see why, because in the wrong hands it can be exploited and manipulated and abused, which, I mean, it's happening already at this time. But yeah, recently there just has been, or just since the beginning really, there's this constant opposition towards science, but I think more of towards understanding life in your own way. It seems like a lot of societies and regulations and all these systems that keep us conditioned in a certain mindset want us to almost embrace the irrationality of faith and these religious bureaucracies, or whatever you want to call them. But it's interesting now that these religions are trying to impose their ways into laws, into judicial, like just into every aspect of life they can, except science. But I mean, some people can utilize science and almost pervert it into whatever ideology they want, even Scientology. Which, I mean, we all know it's not science, but you put science on anything, and I mean, it'll sell to anybody. Anyways, I digress. What do you think about this prejudice towards science and towards reason and logic?
We should stay open. Should stay open to learning more and more. Just because if we stay fixed on one thing, then our mind becomes like, we stop learning. Like, who doesn't want to stop learning? Like, why do we think that once we are out of school that we should, like, okay, it's official, we're done, I'm done learning? And like, no, we're learning every day. You get on social media, we're learning something every day on there too. So I think the same for what we're talking about.
The topic was why do you think there's always been this conflict with science? And I think it might have to do with human nature and how we might be hostile to new things, but then science isn't new, really. But now it's almost gotten this reputation or this connotation that's had for a long time of being, I don't even know, honestly. I don't even know what people are tripping about.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people aren't scientifically inclined, and a lot of the times we don't see the world in a scientific way. We're not questioning things every day, and when we stop questioning, it's when we start to follow or conform to traditions and what everybody else is thinking, and trying to be like somebody else, and
the mob mind.
Yeah, the mob mentality. Yeah, well,
Well,
pretty
I
much
feel- yeah.
conforming.
Well, it's like
And
an
not
instinctual
not
thing.
everybody wants to think that they are conforming to somebody else's values or somebody else's. It's just it just is, you know. It's part of nature. You just
Well, yeah, it's
kind of
human
like
nature.
you just adopt somebody else's ways of living because you see it as like, oh, well, that's normal, or that's natural, or that seems to be right, and well,
Or some people.
I'll just run with that.
Or I know some people will do it almost in this tribal way where they conform to the tribe in order to utilize their resources or to have security or community. And I think that's why humans were probably, I guess our brains are probably wired in that way. But it's almost like, at this point, it's almost just absurd how it's taken its life of its own and it's become just so insane. But I feel like arts and science are a cool vehicle to kind of show someone another perspective of what reality is, you know, or what our normal expectation of what normal is, how it's very abnormal, and how the abnormal is beautiful. Okay,
Yeah, we can see the beauty in the ugly as well.
That's what I told my mom. Yeah, I was trying to make a fucked up joke and it just felt weird.
Yeah, it's best
Talking
to
about
keep
the
it to yourself.
absurd. How are you doing? What do you think about, I guess, this, well, another question. Where do you think art will be 100 years from now? Since I would consider you a futurist.
I think it'll be pretty much the way it is today. Everybody's trying to like explore new ways of like seeing the world, and everyone's trying to figure it out. Everyone's trying to figure out how the universe works, how, you know, even on a micro level with physics, we're still trying to figure that out too, and we hardly have, you know, like any well, there's probably like 95% of the physical world is probably still unknown, and the universe as well. Like, you know, there's a new telescope, the Webb telescope, and that telescope is just, it's breaking records, and we're seeing new ways of looking at the universe. You know, dark matter still, we don't even know what dark matter is.
Like, we haven't even explored our own ocean.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is where were you going with it? Futurist. I guess I wanted to add that I see art in 100 years as utilizing science more. Like, I know that now AI and holograms are like pop culture. Or they're accessible now to anybody. So now people are using AI and making new mediums and new art. So I feel like with the evolution of AI and technology, the art will also evolve and become more technological. But I feel like they'll reach a certain point where it's too technological and we lost the point of realism and reality, that it's gonna go back to nature. It almost seems like a recurring thing in art. It's like everyone's in the future, but then it's like, oh, but what about the natural world? Or some blended too, like Giger, like H.R. Giger. It's like you have this like mechanical aesthetic mixed in with nature.
Yeah, it's very Genesian.
For sure, if the future looks like Giger, I want to go. But
if anybody doesn't know what Genesian is, it's practically from the word Janus, which is Roman god?
Two-headed.
Roman god.
Two-faced.
Two-faced. So it's like two opposing faces, pretty much like Siamese twins.
They're like they're looking at opposite directions.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of art that encompasses the Genesian thinking.
Yeah. Well, what that is when you get two opposing ideas and put them together to fuse a new idea. And we've utilized a lot in what we do in the art, and it's kind of like a creative technique that we think is cool. And we're also interested by a lot of philosophy, psychology. But what are your creative techniques that you feel are just authentic to you and unique to your own experience that you've I guess identified through your process and through your artistic evolution?
Well, it all stems from that Genesian thinking, and there's techniques that I've pretty much made my own throughout these last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think that
I'll talk about it.
Well, I don't want to get into specifics because
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
take like a whole 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. give me the spark
But
notes version.
I think recently with the new stuff is it's practically all music related because we're musicians and you're a
Okay.
percussionist, and the new art pretty much, at least from how I thought about it, is pretty much rhythm beats, in an analytical way, but it's left for the viewer to add however they want to the beats, however you want to imagine it in your own way, however you feel music should be, without me adding pitches or anything like that. I also like the idea of waves because music is pretty much waves. They're waves. They're invisible. We can't see them. So some of the new art has that. It's got like the idea of like ripples flowing through and
Got some
going
spirals.
into pretty much into space, going everywhere, just rippling. Just because I really like the visuals of that. Also, when it comes to like earthquakes work the same way, where they ripple out in the same way as music.
No, there is a lot of aspects of science that are basically, or my bad, there are aspects of music and art that are basically just science repackaged in a pretty way. Like even music itself is just all science. It would even baffle Einstein. But I think the combination of science and the art really isn't as, what's the word? I guess isn't as normalized as some people see it. Like when you think of a scientist, you're almost like the first thing that pops into your head is just like a chemistry lab, not a saxophone or a xylophone. But there are a lot of scientists that very, very gifted musicians. But it's almost not like a stereotype.
Einstein used to play violin to pretty much some way somehow bring up new ideas later.
Yeah.
It was like a way for him to
clear his mind.
Yeah.
Or go in a flow.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I feel like I do the same thing. Like we got music and we got kind of like our way of later coming up with the new ideas for the art. Well, on both sides too. Like sometimes the balance of music and art, I think, is great for new perspectives in life. Because and we need more of it.
Well, a lot of science and inventions, you think, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of them have some creativity involved in the design or even just the invention itself.
Well,
some
imagination.
People, yeah.
Without imagination, we wouldn't get too far as humans.
Yeah, we wouldn't have ideas, or we wouldn't think abstractly about concepts of, like, let's just say, like Stephen Hawking thinking about black holes. Like, he couldn't even leave his house, really. But with our abstract thinking, we're able to create scenarios and different...
Well, all he had was his imagination.
Yeah. Which,
and
I
that's all
mean, I guess you don't
he
need...
had. He
just-
didn't have to move. He didn't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, sadly, the way he was,
Yeah.
like, he didn't have to really do much to explain his ideas or anything like that. He just had his mind, and that's at the end of the day what matters, here.
If you think about it, yeah, it's like you're only limited by your own thinking and your own imagination, and if you can really broaden that, then you're seeing life in a whole different way. It's almost like looking at a whole different world. It doesn't seem so like dramatic as I'm explaining it, but it really is like that. Like, you can have one single thought that could blow your fucking mind, and your whole reality changes. Your whole perspective can literally overnight, in a second, change. Have you ever had a situation like that where you had certain like a misconception that you held that was true, and then at a certain moment your whole life changed based off of that? Well, I actually...
Basically, like,
Yeah.
since I could remember, like, being a little kid, there's been a lot of situations where I'd come across where I had to question, or at least something came up where I had to question why these things would happen. I would get deep into questioning religion, just because the way that I grew up was very chaotic. And the way I grew up was pretty much, my dad was an alcoholic and he was a woman beater. And because of all that, I had to question mostly religion and why these things would happen to us within our family. And, everybody else can see it in a whole different perspective, because not everybody grows up in a similar household. And but for us, it was a bit more chaotic and unpredictable, and because of that, I had to pretty much shift my view from religion and into other more philosophical, psychological, scientific ways of thinking, to pretty much help figure out why we were in such a situation. And it's helped me ever since.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. But yeah, that would be something. That would be enough to really shift your perspective. I also had a similar thing where it was like, I grew up in a heavily religious family, but those that upheld the religion weren't even practicing what they preach, and it made me wonder, like, why are we going to church all the time if like a minute later we're just gonna talk shit about everybody? So that was a moment for me where I had to sit down and realize what the fuck is going on. And yeah, sometimes it's the fucked up shit that really is...
Well, it's what builds character.
In a fucked up way, but it's like...
It's what makes us who we are at the end of the day, human. Even if we like it or not, it's just a part of life. Some people go through worse things that we have probably gone through.
For sure.
And it really changes their life forever.
Well, that's a good point. It's like, people have gone through worse shit, but then it's like, some let it stop them, and some they're able to transmute it and sublimate into something better.
Well, yeah, it gets to them and it destroys them.
Yeah.
They get into bad habits, and it gets them into a place where they never needed to be in the first place. But if there was some way to seek help, to ask for help, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that everybody would be able to understand ourselves better by just asking. Just ask if anyone's going through something that needs to be talked about. Doesn't hurt to ask or seek.
Or just seek knowledge, people, whatever, information. But I'm thinking, what do you want to do 5 years from now?
Well,
like, how do you see
that's kind of
like a 5-year plan? I know that's kind of
I
like
can't
jump from
predict
what
the
we're talking.
future.
Or how would you want?
I guess as of for now.
Like, what would be your roadmap? Or what?
As for now, like, doing the music and doing the art is going pretty well, and I think that if for whatever reason in 5 years I could keep doing what I'm doing and not deviate, then great. You know, just because I know up to this day, we've been able to kind of keep this rolling. You know, this whole art and music for the past probably since we met, like 2013, around there.
Yeah.
And even for myself, before being in music, I wasn't into art as much before that, but I was into music. I was into art like earlier in life, but didn't really keep that going. I think that in 5 years again, we can see ourselves doing what we're doing today, and just sharing our views, sharing what we think, sharing knowledge, sharing stories, sharing anything and everything, you know? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think some people would think that it's a bad thing because they just, oh, these guys are too open, we need to shut them down. I'm like, no. That's all it is. You just gotta say no, because they probably think that, oh, well, where do they think they are? Maybe they're too open, It's like, well, how much is too open? Or how much is too closed?
Yeah, it's like you're never gonna satisfy everyone's criteria, and sometimes people don't even fit their own criteria. Like they have the expectations, but then they let themselves down because it's just expectations themselves, or you're just playing yourself. But in a way, the way I see us in 5 years is just doing what we're doing now, but I guess affecting more people in a great way. So if you're hearing this and what you've seen has affected you, made you feel any way, or you're a fan, thanks. Thanks for supporting us. We really appreciate it. We fucking love you, and let's see where this can go. If anything, we were in the same situation like you guys. We were just fucking around in our town, really up to nothing. But then I guess we just wanted to do something more, find something, I guess, like open our
something
mind.
more meaningful.
Yeah, I guess so, because in our town, there's really nothing to do here, so you're just kind of stuck either having a baby or doing some drugs or joining a cult.
Or having too many kids.
But I guess through that process we were able to do a lot, and since we haven't stopped, we just made this for ourselves. And I implore you to do something similar in whatever you love and whatever you care for. Instead of working at a shitty job that you don't care for, that doesn't care about your mental health or anything about you, I say, do what you want, be free, fuck anything that tries to stop you.
We're going in on a half hour. I think this
is a good time.
I think this is pretty good for one
episode. That's pretty good for.
And I think that we've talked on a wide range of topics, and I think that everybody can hopefully see a little bit of our side of who we are, and we'd like to know more about what you guys think on the other side.
Yeah, we don't want yes men, or we don't want everyone to agree, really, because then we limit ourselves to knowledge and experience. So we're open to what you think and your perspectives. If you agree, disagree, let us know. And as always, we love you. And any last words?
That's about it. Till the next episode.
All right. Till next time. Adios.
See ya.